Matt Shaw has returned to the Cubs, and it looks like he's back and better than ever. We're going to talk about the adjustments that the young third baseman made and the impact he's had on the Cubs lineup in his first 2 games back. Ian Happ returns from an injury. Moisés Ballesteros sent down. We'll get into that. And don't expect the Cubs to make a trade right now, even though maybe they need somebody. And I'm going to tell you why. All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for being here. Look, I know that's a lot to say to you guys, but you're not Cardinals fans. You get this. Also, hit the bell. We're brought to you by DraftKings. Let's get this thing going. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. It is great to see you guys today. Let's talk a little bit of Cubs. Great beatdown of the Marlins last game. I love that. And then let's go ahead and get that dub today. But let me start with this. Matt Shaw back and better. We talked about it on the show. You can go back and watch it. Rick Strickland, the hitting coach, really good hitting coach in Iowa, basically started saying, hey, he's ready to go. He's adjusted and he's back. And he started to blister the Iowa pitching. And you kind of got the feeling that, okay, yeah, I mean, it was time. 4 home runs in 2 games, a walk-off. He has always been good defensively. You know, is third base too big for him? I don't know, but you know what? He's handling the position just fine. And it's a spot that the Cubs need him to play. And sometimes in baseball, that's just the way it is, you know. And I think about Pete Rose. Hey, the guy made all-star teams in a lot of different positions. You can play a lot of different positions in baseball and help your team. And Shaw right now, maybe more suited for second, is playing third. And the Cubs need a third baseman. And the options at third base where you would get a lot of production and power really weren't good besides him. Gage Workman had him, didn't work out. He's gone. You had John Birdie. Yeah, he's good in spots, but he's not a starter and he's not an everyday guy, and he's not really going to drive in runs. He's more of a table setter type guy, and that really doesn't fit that third base position, right? And you know, I thought when the Cubs signed Justin Turner, I thought, well, maybe Justin Turner can play third. No, he can't play third. You know, he's playing first. He's actually been pretty fun to watch here lately. But Shaw went to the minor leagues, made the adjustments. They didn't like the contact rates on his outs. He was batting under 200. He goes back and basically he adjusted his step, right? Just the step, just the front step to the ball. And that changed everything for him. He's faster to the ball and he's driving it. You know, 2 more hits in the beatdown of the Marlins. But you can just see the confidence there. And when we talk in baseball, sometimes people will say, well, so-and-so needs confidence, right? And it's then you watch them and you're like I heard a commentator on Marquee. She was like, I think all Christopher Morel needs at third base is a little confidence. No. He actually needed to work on his form, his technique. His feet were bad. He was out of position. And then on top of that, he just couldn't do it. Like he couldn't catch the ball. There was no confidence that was going to help him. With someone like Shaw, a lot of it is confidence. It's adjustments, but it's confidence as well. He's just got to go up there and believe that he's capable of being an everyday player and that he belongs. And that was something that Joe Madden used to talk about, you know, like getting someone up there and then them not feeling like they're barely keeping their head above water, but feeling like they belong. And then they'll contribute that way. And that's something that I'm starting to see with Shaw. I know it's only a couple of games, but I really believe in this guy's ability to make a difference and drive in some runs. And you know what, 2 more hits and an RBI double, good for him. But can he be the answer at the hot corner? That's the question. You know, and I still, as much as I think he can play and that he can be a really good asset for the Cubs long term, is he the answer at third base? I'm still saying that the jury's out. You know, he's not going to play shortstop with Dansby Swanson, who hallelujah is like starting to hit and earning that money. Nico Horner is a Gold Glove second baseman. You know, would you want to move him off of that? He gets on. You know, hits the ball a lot. He doesn't have the power that Shaw has. So for Shaw, it's just like get over the third base, make it your own, drive in some runs, put up the production. We know he can hit for power. The other thing that I said about him, and I still believe, is that his ability to walk is why I think long term he really does have the potential to be a very good major league hitter. Because in a day and age where on base percentage is more important than batting average, I think he's going to do well there. So can he be the answer long term at the hot corner? I think the answer is yes. I think he could, but we'll see what happens. 2 games in, he's got the batting average over 200, moving it past the Mendenzo line and up. So good for him, guys. I want to tell you this proudly. We are brought to you by DraftKings. And you know, when we started this channel, we're like, hey, is anybody going to sponsor us? Well, yeah, DraftKings. Use the promo code CBC. DraftKings, when you do, for first timers, $5 gets you $200 in bonus bets. And I've talked about the Preakness and how much fun I had watching. I had both the 2 horses that raced for the end. It was fun. I'm going to do it again for the Belmont Stakes. But you can do it with DraftKings. They've got a bunch of great deals, and we appreciate them for being a part of it. But our promo code is CBC. They say baseball season is a marathon and not a sprint, and that's great news for us because there's so many games to bet on. Don't miss a second of the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. From every game day until the champagne pops and the trophy is lifted, DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered with same-game parlays, odds boosts, and so much more. There's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use our code CBC. Cubs Baseball Channel, CBC, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Pick 6 and have a shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, use my promo code CBC and bet $5, just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code CBC, Cubs Baseball Channel, CBC only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, so the second thing is that Ian Happ returned to the lineup, and Moisés Ballesteros sent to Iowa. Some good things here happening for the Cubs. First off, when I'm watching Seiya Suzuki play right field, but left field, I thought he looked really good in left field for the Cubs. And I like the outfield with Seiya and Pete and Tucker. I liked it. And I'm sure for Happ, as he's sitting there trying to come back from an injury, he's going, you know what? I don't like this. I'm ready to get back and help. And so when good teams and championship teams, there's always a sense of urgency for players to get uninjured so that they can help contribute. And when you look at really bad teams, everybody stays on the IL longer than they need to because they don't want to be out there. This team has a good culture. There's a buzz around these guys right now, and I think that's a really good thing. So Ian Happ returns. Obviously, he's a Gold Glover. He's the longest tenured Cub, and he's going to help the team at the top of the lineup getting on base. So then Moisés Ballesteros. I thought he held his own in the big leagues. Drove in some runs. Made contact, working through that first ever experience in the major leagues, but you can tell that he's got the ability to go up there and hit. We didn't think that. The thing for him, and what is really going to be something that he's going to have to try to do, is to find a position. is that catcher, because full-time DH, that's kind of where we're at with him right now. And I think he can handle it, but he would have a lot more value if there was something that he could do, and you're not putting a guy at 5'8" at first base, unless you had to. So catcher's one. Is there any other thing he could do out there to stay on the field? That's a question, but we know he can hit. I think we're all excited about his bat, and it's going to be a challenge for a manager like Craig Counsell to get this guy in the lineup when he's back up again. But what the good thing that we know is what we thought is that this guy can come up and get things done. He can hit, and I think that's going to help the Cubs moving forward. And again, having competition makes everybody better. And Moisés Ballesteros is competition for these guys, because if somebody struggles, they know that they got a young player there that's ready to step up and be part of the team and help out. So we'll see what happens on that front. Now, the last thing I wanted to get into is this. Don't expect the Cubs to make a trade until mid-June at the earliest. And that's what Jed Hoyer said, recently. And I mean, look, it makes sense. I mean, this is not the time of year where teams are going to want to make trades. And the reason why is that they're trying to convince their fan bases that they're still in it. And, some teams like Baltimore, they just fired Brandon Hyde, a former bench coach for the Cubs. Maybe Colorado. I'd say Colorado's probably a team that would be willing to make a trade right now, but there's not many teams that are already out of it. And or how many of these teams are in these rebuilds where they're like the Cubs were building up to 2016, right? Where you're like, okay, we'll make trades a little earlier. Remember, they traded Jeff Samardzija like at July 4th that year. So Hoyer's saying maybe at mid-June to July, when the trade deadline happens. So that means that for right now, with this bullpen, the Cubs are going to have to find internal options. You don't have Porter Hodge anymore. How long is that going to be? Shota, we know he's going to be back in June. So we'll see what happens. The one thing that they did well was that they went out and built some depth, and that depth's actually held up so far. But we'll see how that continues, and maybe there's some guys in the AAA, bullpen starters that could jump up and help with this team. But the Phillies are talking about David Robertson. He's a former Cub. That's who the Cubs traded to get Ben Brown. He actually put up pretty good numbers last year in Texas. And from what I understand, the guy wants like $10 million, and that's why nobody signed him. But now the Phillies are in a spot where with Alvarado out because of a suspension where they need some help. Maybe that, and all of a sudden this guy might look like a genius because he didn't have to play at the beginning of the year. He's going to end up making 10 mil. Somebody's going to have to pay him. We'll see. It's not like there are a ton of guys out there that you can look at, bring into your bullpen and get outs. So the thing that you would love to see is someone come from the minor leagues that the Cubs can turn on and that can contribute. The other thing might be Ben Brown going to the bullpen. And, Brown's been good, but inconsistent as a starter. Maybe a Jordan Wicks slides into that spot, or somebody else. And then he goes out in the bullpen and pitches in some of those high leverage situations. I mean, you don't want to waste a starter, but at the same time, you can't lose games like you did against the Marlins 2 nights ago. Those are the games. You got to beat those teams and you got to win those games. And that's when you rely on your bullpen. Anyway, Cubs and Marlins, I'm sure some of you have probably, by the time you watch this, it's a really early game. It'll probably be over, but Cade Horton 2-0 with a 6 ERA, getting the start. I can't wait to watch him pitch. And then it's Max Meyer, a 23-year-old, going for the Marlins, 3-4 record and a 4.47 ERA. So Meyer, two really good young pitchers, and we'll be watching that. Cubs look for the win against the Marlins to try to keep it going with another series victory. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Again, appreciate everyone for being here. It's CBC Cubs Baseball Channel with DraftKings. Support them for supporting us, and we'll do it again tomorrow. And, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. It really has. This has been so much different than last year because Kyle Tucker makes your whole team better. Everybody just kind of feeds off of him. That's why the guy's probably going to make over $600 million at the end of this season. But let's enjoy him while we got him, right? Thanks for being here. Go.